My name is James Carey. I am here with Julia, and we have a very special guest today that I'll let Julia introduce.
So we are pleased to introduce Edmond Azadian. He's a graduate of the American University of Beirut with a degree in business administration. He also studied English and American literature at Northeastern University in Boston and Near Eastern Studies at Wayne State University. He is the author of numerous books and publications, and also has served as an editor and journalist of many publications and literary journals.
So, which question would you like to lead off with? Uh, I suppose we'd like to lead off just by asking you about what is the historical significance of the Nagorno-Karabakh region and Artsakh?
Yeah, just give us a little bit of background, a little bit of history into this region that kind of leads us up to this conflict.
Well,
What is the significance
Nagorno-Karabakh has been a bone of contention between Armenia and Azerbaijan for almost 100 years. And now that Azerbaijan claims Karabakh as part of its own territory, does not have neither historical nor legal foundation. There is some political ramifications. Even the news media continues to claim that international community recognizes Karabakh as part of Azerbaijan's territory, but that does not have any legal nor historical basis, because when Azerbaijan declared its independence or seceded from the Soviet Union, it used the same mechanism to secede from the Soviet Empire. The same mechanism is allowed for the autonomous regions and autonomous republics. Like there is an autonomous republic of Nakhichevan, autonomous region of Artsakh or Karabakh. Karabakh used the same mechanism. And also, when you go to United Nations, Karabakh's application to United Nations tells that the present Republic of Azerbaijan is the successor government which existed between 1918, 1920. At that time, Karabakh was not part of the territory of Azerbaijan. Therefore, legally, it is outside. But Azerbaijan is claiming that for other reasons that we'll come to discuss now, because this Karabakh region, Karabakh issue and the crisis, the problem, is part of a more global conflict, which is expressed in terms of ethnic infight in most of the news media.
Yeah, that's the thing. This conflict, the dispute has been going on for quite some time, obviously, ever since before the fall of the Soviet Union, since the Soviets made it an autonomous region back in the 20s. But since the fall of the Soviet Union, this dispute has been ongoing with flare-ups here and there. But what do you think is behind the timing of this most recent one? And how this is the most prolonged one we've seen in a long time, it seems.
Well, as I was telling, this is part of a more global geopolitical plan. Armenia is not fighting only Azerbaijan. Actually, Armenia is fighting Turkey. As you know, Turkey committed genocide 105 years ago, and now it's back at Armenia's doorstep. President Erdogan does not hide his intentions. He says, we want to rebuild the Ottoman Empire. How can you build an Ottoman Empire? What what constituted the Ottoman Empire in the past, which collapsed after the First World War. A government has to take over other countries through massacre or through conquest. That's what Erdogan's purpose is. And Erdogan is very sincere in this. So he does whatever he announces that he will do. Now he says we want to build the Ottoman Empire. So if that's his intention, so he has to plan accordingly to subjugate other peoples. At that time, Armenia was under Ottoman Empire, and Armenians were a subject nation. They were not armed. They collected 1.5 million Armenians. They massacred, and Armenians couldn't resist. But in today's world, Armenians are no longer the deportees of Derzor, which is equivalent to Auschwitz, and they are armed. They will resist, and they will not let Turkey have a second genocide.
So even the mere existence of Armenia, obviously, it angers a lot of these Turkish nationalists who, as you said, have no pretense in hiding their intentions. But what do you think Turkey's long-term goals could be out of this now that they've basically shuttled waves of Sunni extremists from Syria into Turkey? Do you see this as a feasible strategy for Turkey?
How will they occupy Azerbaijan and Armenia?
As long as the international community allows. Now Turkey is a stalemate in Syria against Russia. Turkey is in a stalemate in Libya, also against Russia. Now this is the third front. The two fronts are now relatively calmed. There is a status quo there. There are some flare-ups, especially in Syria, but there was just a peace agreement yesterday in Libya, not to Mr. Erdogan's liking, but a stalemate has been created. So Erdogan is free to move his forces and the jihadists, Islamist jihadists, to Armenia. So Armenia is fighting the Azeri army, the jihadists, from 2,000 to 3,000 jihadists. No one can give the exact count. And the Turkish generals are conducting the war. Azerbaijan tried a couple of times to defeat the Armenian army, was not successful. Now Turkey is involved in a major way. There are more than 150 commanders leading the Azeri forces, the Turkish commanders leading the Azeri forces against the Armenians.
Right, we've seen these groups in Syria, and we've seen how Turkey ships them to places like Libya or, now Azerbaijan. But what do you think? I mean, do you think the way it's done in Syria is these groups are typically used as an occupation force? They're typically stuck around and made a security force and things like that. Do you see Turkey trying to stick a bunch of these people in Nagorno-Karabakh and have them as an occupying force? And how will that work with Azerbaijan being a Shia nation?
Well, that is a side issue. These jihadists, they are Sunnis and they are coming to help a Shia country, but that's an interim question. The purpose, Erdogan's purpose is Russia. Actually, Erdogan is fighting Armenia. In a way, it's a proxy war to get Russia involved or busy. Just when this flare-up, the war started, we already heard in Ingushetia, in Chechnya, in Dagestan, these jihadists have already penetrated there. And Erdogan's government a few months ago said that we can blow up Russia from within, because there are 25 million Muslim population living in the Russian Federation. So Erdogan has weaponized religion, and it is using very effective.
Yeah, and Russia, basically the US can't really do much in physically supporting Armenia due to the Russian base being there. But Russia at the same time looks like it's been the only country to really step up for negotiations and try to broker a ceasefire agreement between the two nations. Do you see Russia's role as possibly increasing in Armenia if this pattern continues?
Well,
And how do you see Russia retaliating or responding
Russia
to
is
the
there,
provocation?
and excuse me, there are many politicians in Russia. They are saying if Karabakh falls, next stage is Russia, and they are very cognizant of that. So Russia has some kind of a neutral stand. Putin just 2 days ago, he made a public assessment. He began to favor the Armenian side, saying that all these disputes started with ethnic cleansing in Baku and Sumgait, where Armenians were massacred. And then he continued to say, well, also Azerbaijan lost territories. It is in Russia's interest not to let Azerbaijan come under Turkish control completely. It's already, Erdogan is there, and they have also family clannish disputes in Azerbaijan. He's Aliyev is 100% committed to Erdogan and Turkey, and his wife's clan, Pashayevs, they are more Russian oriented. And Aliyev sent his Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mehmet Yarov, who was accused to be a pro-Russian or pro-Kremlin politician. So there is an inside dispute too, and the outcome of this war will decide where Azerbaijan falls, within Russian influence or Turkish influence. Right now, Mr. Aliyev, he doesn't even control his country. Erdogan is commanding, and you can see that twice when there was a ceasefire agreement, October 10, October 18, twice the foreign minister of Turkey, Çavuşoğlu, says that no, you are not going to deal with us. You have to you have to deal with Turkey. Also, they have been trying to participate in this, not only on the war front, but also on the diplomatic front. First, they want, if there is a settlement where peacekeeping forces will be introduced, Turkey wants also Turkish forces joining the Russian ones. And also on the diplomatic front, they want to be one of the participants in cutting the deal. But Armenia is refusing, because Armenia is saying that Turkey is party to the war. He cannot be, Turkey cannot be an independent or neutral negotiator.
And that's the thing I've noticed recently is Turkey, they did the same strategy in Syria, where they managed to become the negotiating party on behalf of the rebels there, of all the terror groups that were in Idlib and everything. And they seem to be doing the same thing in Azerbaijan. And they're playing this dangerous game with the United States already, where they walk this really fine line of, angering us as a NATO ally and needing our support. Do you see them are they basically in this role trying to play Russia and the United States off each other for their advantage?
Well, whether we like it or not, we have to admit that Turkey is a major force. During the Cold War, United States and West helped Turkey to become a major military power, second military power within the NATO structure. And gradually they are winning away from NATO, using NATO cover when they need it, but they have their independent policy pursuing their own selfish plans. When there was tension between Turkey and United States, Armenians were favored. United States Congress recognized the Armenian genocide. Every time there is a tension to control Turkey, United States uses that kind of a political tool. And when, because that happened because Turkey had purchased the S-400 air defense systems from Russia. So they kind of settled. They said, okay, you bought it, forget it. But if you don't activate the system, you are okay. Just yesterday, Erdogan said, no, we don't have commitment. And they started activating. Now, you hear that there is an alarm that US citizens are in danger in Turkey and visas are canceled. There is tension between United States and Turkey because arbitrarily or through plan, through design, not by default, President Erdogan decided that he is going to activate those defense systems. So he is playing between Russia and United States, and they both need, Russia needs Turkey because they have huge multi-billion-dollar trade between them. And now that Russia is hurting economically, is heavily dependent on Turkey. No matter how much Turkey politically hurts Russia, yesterday during his talk, President Putin said that, you know, Mr. Erdogan, no matter what he says, he is very flexible in politics. So he tried to cajole Erdogan to continue that relationship, which is on the surface is tolerable, but deep down they have very basic differences, and their interests collide very violently.
So it looks like Iran is kind of trying to play neutral in this situation despite the high stakes, especially considering that Israel, Iran's biggest enemy, has been using Azerbaijan as a test ground for drones in the past few years. What do you think that Iran would step up to play any kind of role should the Turkish mercenaries end up becoming a danger on the level that they were in Syria, especially given them being at the border?
Well, that is one factor. It's a potential danger for Iran. But if you go back to recent history, major wars or blitzkriegs take place during these confusing times. I cannot exclude that now that a war is going on in Caucasus and the sanctions regime ended over Iran, I cannot exclude that Israel does not have more aggressive plans. And this is a very opportune time for Israel to take a step against Iran. Iranians are wary about that situation. They are very cautious against Turkey's presence in the Caucasus. Plus, they know that Azerbaijan is a launching pad for Israel. First, they have their surveillance systems in Azerbaijan, and also they have tacit agreements that Azerbaijan's territory can or will be used as a launching pad against any attack on Iran. So, and along with all those terrorist activities in Russia, you heard that there are some rumblings in northern Iran among the Azeri population. There are about 20 million Azeri, ethnic Azeris in Iran, and there is a demographic fault line. And also the West's interest is to use that democratic fault line to divide Iran, which is one of the last resisting nations in the Middle East. Syria is no longer there, is no longer a strong country to threaten Israel. Iraq is no longer there, and Libya is not there. And Iran is the last country on United States hit list.
Yeah,
That's true.
that's true. Yeah, they're up there with North Korea and Venezuela. It's the three.
Yeah. Well, Korea, as you saw, our president is very happy with his relationship. I like that guy. He likes me, he says. And as far as politics is concerned, nothing was achieved. They are continuing their nuclear plan. They are developing their new missiles, but somehow our threat to North Korea is calmed down. We don't have any that kind of a tension in that part of the world.
Okay, so let's look back to the Armenian-American positionality on this. What do you think is your role in the diaspora? What is any kind of Armenian organization should be basically doing, and how should they take steps to help the people of Artsakh? And if there's anything else people can do to help?
Well, there are a few ways for Armenians to help. First, politically, and second, economically. On the political front, we have a Freedom Support Act, and there is an Article 907 that United States should not provide any armament to Azerbaijan as long as it threatens Armenia. Now they are fighting Armenia, and every president that came to power, they gave waiver. They disregarded Article 907. Now Armenians have a political challenge to reinforce that. And second, Congressman Frank Pallone just introduced a resolution in the Congress to recognize the independence of Nagorno-Karabakh, the Republic of Nagorno-Karabakh. So Armenians should be supportive of that. And I was amazed how Armenians were galvanized, and they demonstrated a solidarity to their brethren in Armenia, in Karabakh, throughout the United States. We have 1 million, more than 1 million Armenians only in California. They are very active. They want to influence the news media. They demonstrated in front of CNN for unfair coverage of the news. Now they are going to BBC's office in Los Angeles. BBC has been very, very much in line with Azerbaijan, showing how poor Azerbaijani families are suffering from the bombs that Armenians have been lodging in civilian areas. But there is no similar coverage from Karabakh, where the entire population is being bombarded. And now if the war comes to an end, it is the duty of United States Armenians mostly and worldwide Armenians to help the reconstruction, which will need billions of dollars. Right now, they raised $150 million, which is nothing uh, uh, when times come and we realize the extent of destruction that took place in Karabakh.
I have a quick question now that we've actually brought up both Israel and the United States. Both of these countries have had moments where they've come very close to recognizing the Armenian genocide. But due to their relations with Turkey or something they have going on with Turkey at the moment, that's often when it'll come up when a dispute happens. And then it'll die back. It'll end up not happening because Turkey is an ally to both Israel and the United States. What do you think the motive? I mean, do you see that as just sort of a political play, but like when the Knesset brings up a bill to recognize the Armenian genocide, do you see that as just something they're doing as a move to anger Erdogan when they're feuding with him? Has it
I
become
think
kind of a political play?
that's a political ploy. United States did that for a long time. Every time there was tension between Turkey and United States, a congressman or senator would come up with the recognition of the Armenian genocide to scare away the Turks so they get some concessions. The same thing is happening in Israel, and many Armenians and even Israeli genocide scholars, politicians are questioning the morality of the children of the survivors of Holocaust helping Turkey genocide perpetrator to perpetrate another genocide. This is very loudly like scholars Israel Charny, Yair Oron. These are famous genocide scholars who raised the issue. They questioned the morality of Israel helping. And the most effective war against Armenia has been through the drones provided by Israel.
Yeah.
And the expert opinion is that those drones could not hit very accurately unless they use the GPS, military GPS, whose control is in the hands of Pentagon. So United States indirectly through Israel is helping Azerbaijan to devastate Nagorno-Karabakh. Most of the damage is through those drones. They say that they have been sending hundreds of drones at the same time. No matter how strong your air defenses are, you cannot cope with that kind of massive drone attack on a small area.
It's definitely. It seems like they're trying out a new method of warfare in Azerbaijan. They're trying what has been being built up to for a long time now, which is the reliance on drones.
Right, and this is kind of a shared strategy both of Turkey and Israel in further testing the drone warfare that has been used in Syria or even in other regions, and just kind of like furthering that testing in against Armenia right now. So with all these new parties kind of suddenly coming into the mix and testing the way that they are, do you think that there's a near end to these clashes like there was in 2016, or will there obviously be a prolongation?
Well, now the strategy on Turkish and Azeri side, and to a certain extent by acquiescence of Moscow Kremlin, they want to occupy as much territory as Azerbaijan can before sitting at the negotiating table, because by experience they saw that over the last 3 decades, every time they sit at the negotiating table, as long as Armenia occupies the territory, has a stronger voice at the negotiating table if they have a chunk of that territory, which now, unfortunately, they are chipping away some territories on the peripheries of Karabakh, but they could not achieve their military objective by creating a major breakthrough in the war. But they want to, this is a war of attrition. They want to bring Armenia. Armenia is a small nation. This is a technological war. They are surprised that Armenia was so prepared to resist that technological war, but the population, the army, is no match to the combined forces of Azerbaijan, Turkey, jihadists, and neutral Russia.
I suppose, do you think Russia will, I mean, Russia's been negotiating ceasefires at this point. Do you think Russia will end up playing a bigger role? Do you think they'll move anyone into the area? Or do you think they'll try and remain neutral and just broker things out of fear of angering other parties?
Eventually, they will. And there is that collective security pact with Armenia. Unfortunately, that has proven to be nothing because Belarus is part of it. Belarus officially is supporting Azerbaijan. It's a joke. If you have, if that would happen in NATO, you know, they wouldn't allow
Right.
that. It's a joke, security, and it is assumed that Russia has to intervene when Armenia is threatened. Armenia is being threatened because they came to the southern part of Armenia. They have been bombing that area. The southern tip of Armenia, which is Megri, which is Sunik, it's on the way of Erdogan's pan-Turanic dreams. He says Armenia is the only hurdle on our way towards the Central Asia. And that's the tip which divides Azerbaijan from the Republic of Nakhichevan, which is territory of Azerbaijan at this time. So they are trying to cut off that sliver of territory, which will serve two purposes. First, they will open a common territory between Azerbaijan's two blocks of territory. And second, they will cut off Armenia from Iran. It has two strategic goals. Well, Armenians are very strong that, I mean, it's a very historic significance. That southern part of Armenia has a very historic significance and also strategic with global implications. So Armenians will not let that happen.
Yeah, so when do you see a resolution to this? How long do you think this is going to prolong? And if so, do you see Iran or Iran even being forced to take any action in the near future?
Well, I don't think Iran will take an action. They are very cautious. They have concentration of the troops because they are afraid that Turkey, Azerbaijan, Israel may create a provocation because their northern region is very vulnerable. As I said, it's ethnic Azeris. They are very cautious. Officially, Iran is neutral, but if Armenia loses or Karabakh loses its border with Iran, Karabakh loses, so Israel has a longer access to the Iranian border through Azerbaijan. So that's a very serious danger for Iran. But I don't think they can intervene militarily. All they are going to do, they will protect their borders. And Russia will be very vulnerable if Turkey is settled in Azerbaijan. So they are worried about that too. But they have bigger bigger issues to settle with Turkey. So that's within the bundle of all the issues. We don't know where it falls in terms of its significance. United States is indifferent. Our president gave a few favorable words about Armenians. They are nice people. We like them. We support them, but nothing important. But if you see in the global perspective, it's in the interest of United States and the West to see Russia bleeding. The purpose of NATO is to contain Russia. So Russia has a problem in Ukraine, Belarus, now in Caucasus, and recently in Kyrgyzstan, where Russia has the only military base outside its territory besides Armenia. So these four areas are have some unrest, and that is within the global perspective of United States and the Western powers to see Russia contained.
And then I suppose to end this, I suppose our last question is just what, with Armenia alone and outgunned and being constantly assaulted as it is now, what do you see the future being, or what do you see happening in Artsakh?
Well, at this time, it's very, very difficult to predict what will happen. Aliyev says we will give to Armenia the highest degree of autonomy. I mean, this is based on Helsinki Final Act principles of nonviolent solution, peace settlement through negotiations, and the principle of territorial integrity. So Azerbaijan says that we will give to the Armenian people in Karabakh the highest degree of of autonomy. Once I met an Azeri diplomat. He was visiting Ann Arbor at a conference. I said, can you define that highest degree of autonomy? He couldn't define. And the Armenians are asking, if you are not giving any freedom to Lezgis, Avars, and Talishs, all their leaders of these minorities are in jail, how can we have confidence on you to give autonomy to the Armenians? First, you should give the example that you are a tolerant government towards minorities so that we can have some confidence that indeed you mean what you say.
Julia, do you have any other questions?
No other questions from my end.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again for joining us, Edmond Azadian, and we hope to speak to you again soon.